So I need y'all to join me in welcoming my brother BG to the show. What's good with it, bro? You back?
Hey, everything's good out here, brother. Just slowly watching the descent of democracy in real time. Uh, we're gonna find out a lot about the American people's ability to learn from information over the next probably week,
You
because
know
we're still
what?
going to be counting these, and some things may be tighter than we might hope. So.
Hey, you know what? I think this is giving me them 2004 to 2000 Al Gore vibes.
I mean, it should be. We if we even were to look just at the stage that we're playing on, we would see a bunch of the same actors. Three of the people who were at the Brooks Brothers riot back before the Bush v. Gore decision in the Supreme Court were all lawyers trying to get the vote counted start, and now three of those people are on the Supreme Court. This is that's something that the Republican Party would definitely not say is something that they can't do. They've proven that they're willing to do it before. Let's not put it past them to do it again.
Exactly. You know what? It's like when I make the major announcement in the middle of the show, you know, me and you was talking off air and you turned the oven on me one time. So I think
It wasn't meant personally. It's a critique I've been making about a broad swath of our culture.
yeah, I mean, and you know, I'm not mad about it because if anybody can sit me down and give me the stern talking to, you already know how we do. you know how we go back and forth, and you know how we do it. So coming from you, I couldn't do nothing but laugh about it
I
and
mean, I just want
understand.
to see Americans use our limited electoral power in as precise a way we can.
Ye-
And we have, at this point, four parties that the average person has heard of. Two of them are basically completely incompetent. One of them bordering on just complete insanity. If you ever really want to entertain yourself, just go on YouTube and pull up like a debate between libertarians. You'll
Okay.
hear talk about solving economic crisis through jetpacks and roads don't need to be fun. It's just a barrel of insanity over there.
Oh,
And the Green Party effectively hasn't been electorally viable during its existence. So I mean, it's at a certain point, as a political power, as a political party, your job is to seek power for that party. We have two parties that are completely unable to do that, and two parties that are roundly despised by the majority of the American public.
and that's
What you
true.
gonna do?
And that's true. That's true. But I like my stance on it was this. It's almost like we grow up and you get it drilled in your mind. So it's almost like you get it force fed Democrat, Republican, Democrat, Republican. And at the end of the day, in all honesty, at the end of the day, both parties are about big business. It's just that the Democrats is smart enough to appease the American public, I think. I basically, okay, we going to rob them blind, but we got to get them a little something so they won't realize we robbing them blind. Whereas the Republicans is just like, we going to rob them blind and we the government, so what the hell can they do? So it's almost like I said, we're in the middle of a custody battle between two abusive parents, and we got to figure out which one gonna abuse us less, or which one ain't gonna get drunk and kick our room door open and take it out on us.
We could have chosen to go live with Grandpa Bernie, but we're not going to even go there.
Oh no, no, they. It's almost like they can't stand Grandpa Bernie. They they trying to put him in the old folks' home.
That's too much like moving the country in a direction that would work in 2020. But we've gotten to this point with these two parties. Well, let's be honest. The Republicans, they're just cartoonish with it. They're like Mr. Burns level, like capitalists, where
True.
they don't care what rules are. At least with the Democrats, you get things like clean water bills, like just looking at the regulations that Donald Trump has rolled back. He's made it easier for people to dump sludge in the waterways. Who does that behoove other than corporate interests who get to socialize the fallout and privatize the profits?
Exactly.
The Democrats are willing to put some sort of cap on the things that they give to capital. Is it enough? Hell no. Is it a party that can be reformed? I would like to believe yes. There are plenty of people arguing the contrary. So, I mean, we basically have one group of cartoon supervillains who have all three parts of the government, and we have one group that is slightly less evil, yet also slightly less competent in its ways.
Exactly. And
Because
see,
we forget that Democratic leaning voters and Republican leaning voters think about the success of their party in different ways.
yeah,
Democratic leaning voters tend to think of success in like legislation you pass or problems that you solve. If you want to look at the Republican mindset, the politicians that they fall for and love the most are the ones that take the most public goods and move it into private hands. You'll see it every time. You didn't see a single Republican crow when they were privatizing that national park land earlier in this administration. I mean, what we're really looking at is a group of people who hate governmental power as long as it's the governmental power that doesn't benefit their donors. They love governmental power when it's time to put the boot down on the necks of poorer and working people.
makes sense. It makes sense. And
So, I mean, if we want continued human survival long term, this group can't continue to even have a large voice in
true.
most important imperial power at this point in history. There's too many real problems for the human species on the horizon, and Republicans have shown that they're unable or unwilling to do anything about
Yeah, I mean, it's a difference when they best interest is big business as opposed to what drives big business, and that's the truth of the matter. Like, honestly, the truth of the matter is, like I was saying, the worker bee effect. If we all just worker bees, then big business won't be big business without the worker bees. So how could we constantly keep getting left out in the cold, but you're for big business? What do you think drives the big business? What do you think keeps the big business a big business?
it. What do
The
we think
consumption
allows
of
them to
goods
get
and services, right?
top on eight? I mean, when we look at and the thing is, these political parties could take care of big business by taking care of the worker bees and of the people.
Exactly.
Because we see what happens when they pour money into things like the stock market or into corporate bailouts. A lot of that money just gets funneled up to the top and stashed by the people in power. But if you give money to ordinary working people, those ordinary working people typically don't have a lot of savings. That money almost gets instantly poured back into the economy and recirculated. It's the
And
same reason uh, why they raised the pay at Ford way back in the day, because if your workers can't afford your product, eventually everything crashes, and we've forgotten that eventually that your value as a company comes from the people that work there and the people that buy your product, and the corporate sector has effectively manipulated the political system to tell those people to go screw themselves.
exactly. Now, I have to ask you, bro, with you being way over there, I know you mailed yours in, right?
Well, a lot of what people do out here is they'll take it up to the embassy, and the embassy will mail it in.
Uh-huh.
So I ferried mine on up to the embassy and put it in the drop box.
Right on. That makes sense. That makes sense. I just had to make sure that basically, because a lot of people was talking junk. I see a lot of people talking smack, and then the closer it got to election day, not saying I know you wouldn't do it, but the closer it got to election day, people like, I'm just not gonna vote at all. And I'm like, you done been on Facebook this whole time campaigning and mining and going hard, lobbying for a person. So my thing
And
is
now you don't participate in the smallest part of the actual process.
exactly.
There's a reason that people outside of the country feel a certain way about us. And I actually found a little letter that I might want to read for your audience, so they truly understand how everyone outside the country views us.
Uh-huh.
And if you want to, we can get to that a little later on.
Right on, because the thing of it is I could only imagine like being on the outside of America looking in, because being on the outside of Detroit and looking in, it was like when I was in Detroit and you talked to me then. I didn't have the same viewpoint I have being on the outside of it, because I guess I couldn't see the forest because of the trees being in Detroit. But when you get outside of it and you look back, it's like, okay, we really was living in treacherous times, and we glorified that and thought it meant something. And it don't at the end of the day. Like, it really doesn't. And my thing is, like with this show tonight, I felt like, why not have my brother on here? Because we always talking back and forth, and we always sharing some good ass viewpoints when it comes to like different life situations. Even more so, like everybody taking this election like this. It's vote or die, vote or die. And remember when we was on Clark campus running around and everybody had the vote or die shirts on with the Al Gore election. Vote or die, vote or die. You say what
They
now?
still don't get it.
I don't either.
They still don't get it. Because they say that we're in line to have the highest voter turnout since, I think, 1908.
Right.
I guarantee you we still don't get to 70%. Because other countries flat out take their democracy more seriously.
Exactly.
And Americans, one thing that irritates me the most about us is that we don't take our position in the world seriously. We don't think about how much our vote reverberates around the world. Just think about Bush v. Gore. If Gore is president, are we launching wars based on lies in Iraq?
Nope.
Are we messing up certain alliances with allies under Donald Trump if we didn't botch that election?
Exactly.
I mean, elections have consequences more and more for people on the margin. That's why when you go into these Facebook comment sections and you hear people talking about never Trump or never Biden, a lot of the time those people have a certain lighter complexion and are less likely to be touched by the things that would happen under the Trump administration and have been happening under the Trump administration.
Exactly.
If yeah, Hillary Clinton, not even close to my favorite politician. Would she have instituted a zero tolerance policy and permanently separated families along the border? Would she have allowed ICE to run rampant and force sterilization on Mexican women without consent? I
No.
mean, at a certain, these things are not equal, and the American people need to stop treating them like they're equal, because every time we treat them like we're equal, everybody else is just like, oh yeah, they're idiots, and then
E-
I just go, I have no defense for us.
Exactly. And see, the thing of it is the inhumanity of it all.
I mean, we're going to have a major effect on humanity, and we're going to find out if another domino is going to fall in the right direction.
Yeah.
Because we don't have long to turn the ship in terms of climate change, and 4 years of activity from the most powerful government on earth,
Right.
that may not be recoverable. So I've been telling people, look, if you're on the fence about which way to vote here, vote for giving more time.
Exactly. Yeah.
Like, give us more time to solve this issue before our grandchildren have to break into abandoned Walmart for tomato cans because society's broken down.
Exactly. And see, the thing of it is it's like today should have been a special day, like any other year. But what got me so worried is this. Last, what, 4 years ago, we found out the results that exact same night. This year, because of all of the confusion and commotion, oh, we don't know what the results going to be for a couple days. So it makes me feel like some kind of way it's some bull in the works. It's some bullshit in the making. It's something coming that we not going to feel. We not going to. It's almost like I just I keep reverting to it. But it's just like the Gore election because can't nobody convince. I remember that night when they was announcing him as the president, and they had to retract the statement. And 3-4 days later, all of a sudden, oh, we miscounted. It was Bush, and it's like, who was there to help y'all do this counting? Like, no, we didn't get to see it. So, and in that election,
I,
didn't Gore win? He won the electoral college, which is what made
I
him
mean, he
president.
would mess with the recount, but in a lot of ways, we never know the results on election night. We just have a good enough indication for them to make calls on it. And with the unprecedented number of of mail ballots, a lot of those, of course, got counted previous, depending on the state. But plenty of states aren't even allowed to start counting those until today, and they have hundreds of thousands of ballots to
I mean,
sort through.
honey, and that's
And then
crazy.
we're also what votes Republicans can get disallowed. There are so many different variables this election that
Yeah,
I think it's better to have our media err on the side of caution
yeah,
and give them when they know it. Like you need to be really, really careful right now. Americans have already lost faith in we've lost faith in polling in general. We don't trust polls because of the last election. We in a lot of ways have lost faith in the democratic process itself.
yeah.
Like, Think about it this way, because I want to make this point because people are forgetting about some of this. Remember when all the media outlets, or at least a wide group of them, were crowing about Russia's effect on our last election?
Yeah.
Let's take any direct effects from Russia out of it. Let's say it didn't swing a single vote.
Right.
Either way, they've had one of the greatest foreign policy wins ever over these last 4 years.
Yeah.
We've had American politicians using Russian propaganda techniques and spouting things that the Kremlin would love to hear.
Right.
We've look at the lack of faith Americans had in their democracies before 2016 compared to now.
True.
Like the faith in our system, it's teetering on the edge here, and it would only take one to push it right off the edge at this point.
Exactly. So we hoping. I'm hoping.
Out over these next couple of days what direction we're heading in.
And the thing of it is next week I might be calling you via Skype and you be in class so I can tell you, bro, I need that plane ticket because it's time to execute.
Oh, man, it's all right. We're not ready to give up yet, but just so you know, there's always a couch available if you got to pull the ripcord.
Hey, because it's crazy.
We're a dying empire desperately clinging to relevance and power. And there's going to be a time where we need to find our place in the world. And at a certain point, that's going to become a now or never conversation.
Exactly. And the thing of it is it's getting to the point of where it's been so much that's done happened that the very next thing that does go on when it comes to anything with the government might just incite the riot they don't want it to be. Like everybody keep thinking, the National Guard got deployed down here to cities in Texas based on these election results. And earlier I was just speaking with somebody and we brought up the good point of this one time I'm glad I live in Texas because Texas is ultimately a red state, but the city of Austin is a blue city. So it's like it's like the best of both worlds in a way. Like whoever wins, it's going to directly affect the city I'm in one way, fashion, form, or another. So
I wonder how much the voter suppression efforts are going to do, because I know they were playing with those ballot boxes down there in Texas.
Yeah. We're
in a serious situation here. And in some ways, the individual American only has so much power here. You have the power to vote. You have the power to protest if things are less than above board, so to speak.
Exactly.
And this election already looks to be run in as clandestine a manner as possible.
Exactly. And see, and the thing of it is now it's just like, bro, I was geeked up all week to get to this day. And the crazy part about this day is I don't know if it's like mentally trying to psych myself out by not paying attention, but I haven't been paying attention to the election all day. So I don't know who's in the lead, who's winning, who's doing nothing, because I just feel like, what's the sense? It's not like we're going to find out today anyway. Or it could shock us.
It's exhausting. The entire country has election fatigue at this point. And our elections, unlike in other countries, our elections basically never end.
Exactly.
This has basically started the last election ended. because the
Yeah.
president never stopped campaigning. It's an endless campaign now, rather than, all right, let's have a 6 month run up, then an election, and then you go do your job for your term, and then we'll talk about whether or not we need to renew your contract come next election season.
And see, and the thing of it is I've been preaching vote on the state level. And before we actually wrap this segment up, bro, I need you to plug whatever you plug, because I know you finna stream too, ain't you? I'm gonna have to jump over and check your stream out, because you gonna be
I mean,
streaming.
we'll see. I may, if nothing else, I'll probably stream tomorrow. You can catch us at Revolutionary Underground on Twitch. I will eventually be moving all of that content to YouTube so people can see past clips, but uh, we're always available anytime you need us.
You and see because it's a few points I'm gonna make before I end this show. After me and you get done with this Skype thing, I'm bringing I'm bringing my producer on the show this time. Like I got to, so stay tuned in, because I got a couple of things I want to discuss with this man, and I need him to 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 be ready. I got a couple of issues I need to address with my producer, but I need to let you plug what you go plug. And heck, the way election night going, I might be Skype calling you back. Like, I told you this was gonna happen, bro.
Well, if anything comes up, I will definitely be available. We will. I'll most likely take some time over the next week. I've been preparing an episode on the history of American eugenics.
Uh huh.
I'm still working on a couple of things, but the script's written and the election is going to be over. It's time to shit or get off the pot.
Right on.
But we'll thank goodness the election will be over. It won't be sucking up all the oxygen. There'll be time for other stories and other pursuits.
Exactly.
Hope.
And as usual, it's always a thrill when my bro say, "Hey, I'm gonna take the time out and stop by your show and address the people." Like, that's always, especially today, because I felt like I needed to look important. So
Oh, I see that hat right there. Tell me about that
I,
hat.
I figured do a good look. Somebody told me earlier I look like Malcolm X, and that like, God dog, yeah, that's some crazy stuff. Like, I wanted to get the roasting myself, but yeah, like, bro, as usual, I always appreciate you coming by and stopping by to the show. I'm about to get my producer on here and talk junk, so stay tuned in, because I think the fireworks finna fly.
You already know. I mean, we're seeing some polls closing, so we're going to see some calls. I
Right
wouldn't
on.
expect the major ones that we already know. If
Right
we
on.
see a in Georgia, big sign, flip in Florida, huge sign. At that point, I might call you back and
All
be
right,
like,
well, let
"I
me know.
about the next administration."
Right on.
All right, brother. You all have a great show. I'm gonna go ahead and switch into viewer status.
All right, bro. Thanks for stopping by as usual.
All righty, have a good one.
You too.